So you're stepping back out of frustration and you just need to get out. And, you heard Megan share with us all the moment that she came to you, had the courage enough to say out loud, I don't want to live anymore. And you didn't know what to do.
I had no idea what to do. I wasn't prepared for that. I went to a very dark place as well, but I wanted to be there for her.
And also, we didn't leave right
terrified.
in that moment, right?
Yeah.
We still, that's almost a year after.
So did you tell other people in the family, I need to get help for her, we need help for her?
That's just not a conversation that would be had.
Why?
I guess I was ashamed of admitting it to them.
Oh.
And I don't know whether they've had the same feelings or thoughts. I have no idea. It's a very trapping environment that a lot of them are stuck in.
You were ashamed of admitting that Megan needed help.
Yeah. And I didn't have anyone to turn to. We've got some very close friends that have been with us through this whole process. But for the family, they very much have this mentality of, this is just how it is. This is how it's meant to be. You can't change it. We've all been through it.
We've all been through the pressure. We've all been through being
Yes, but what was different
exploited.
What was different for me was the race element, because now it wasn't just about her, but it was about what she represents, and therefore it wasn't just affecting my wife. It was affecting so many other people as well, and that was the trigger for me to really engage in those conversations with senior Palace staff and with my family to say, guys, this is not going to end well.
And when you say end well, what did you mean?
For anyone, it's not going to end well, because the way that I saw it was, there is a way of doing things, but for us, for this union and the specifics around her race, there was an opportunity, many opportunities, for my family to show some public support. And I guess one of the most telling parts, the saddest parts, I guess, was over 70 members of parliament, female members of parliament, both Conservative and Labour, came out and called out the colonial undertones of articles and headlines written about Meghan. Yet no one from my family ever said anything over those 3 years. That hurts. But I also am acutely aware of where my family stand and how scared they are of the tabloids turning on them.
Turning on them for what? They're the royal family.
Yes, but it's there is this invisible, what's termed or referred to as the invisible contract behind closed doors between the institution and the tabloids, UK tabloids.
How so?
Well, it is to simplify it. It's a case of if you as a family member are willing to wine, dine, and give full access to these reporters, then you will get better press.
What do you care about better press if you're royal?
I think everyone needs to have some compassion for them in that situation, right? There is a level of control by fear that has existed for generations. I mean, generation
But who's
after
controlling
generation.
whom? It's the institution. From our point of view, just the public, but
the institution survives based on that perception.
So you're
So
saying
actually,
there's this relationship that Megan was speaking of. It's like symbiotic. One lives or thrives because the other exists. That's what you're saying.
That's the idea.
Well, and so I mean, I think there's a reason that these tabloids have holiday parties at the palace. They're hosted by the palace. The tabloids are. You know, there is a construct that's at play there. And because from the beginning of our relationship, they were so attacking and inciting so much racism, really. I mean, it changed the risk level, because it wasn't just catty gossip. It was bringing out a part of people that was racist in how it was charged. And that changed the threat, that changed the level of death threats, that changed everything.
So tell me this. You said a moment ago, it hurts that your family has never acknowledged the role that racism played in here. Did you think she was well received in the beginning?
Yes, far better than I expected. But my grandmother has been amazing throughout. My father, my brother, Kate, and all the rest of the family, they were really welcoming. But it really changed after the Australia tour, after our South Pacific tour.
That's when we announced we were pregnant with Archie. That was our first tour.
But it was also the first time that the family got to see how incredible she is at the job. And that brought back memories.
I'm thinking because I watched The Crown, okay? I watched The Crown. Do you all watch The Crown?
I've watched some of it. We've watched some of it.
We've watched some of it.
But there is this, I think it was the fourth season, actually, where there's an Australian tour. So is that what you're talking about? It brought back memories of that? The Australian tour where your father and your mother went there and your mother was bedazzling. So are you saying that there were hints of jealousy?
Look, I just wish that we would all learn from the past. But to see how effortless it was for Meghan to come into the family so quickly in Australia and across New Zealand, Fiji and Tonga, and just be able to connect with people in such a... No, I know, but it's...
Why, I mean, why wouldn't everybody love that? Isn't that what you want? You want her to come into the family and to, as the Queen said at one point, the way that Meghan had basically, not her words, but assimilated into the family.
Yeah, I think, as we talked about, she was very much welcomed into the family, not just by the family, but by the world, certainly by the Commonwealth. Mm-hmm. I mean, here you have one of the greatest assets to the Commonwealth that the family could have ever wished for.
I just can't, I'm kind of going back to this. So then you're in Canada because you had stepped back, your firm says you're no longer going to have protection. So did you ask for that? Because were you trying to have it both ways? You wanted to step back, but also keep your foot in royal business, it seems.
It's interesting that you talk about it being, have it both ways. On the security element, I never thought that I would have my security removed because I was born into this position. I inherited the risk. Mm-hmm. So that was a shock to me. That was what completely changed the whole plan.
So that you, as Prince Harry, are going to have your security removed.
Yeah, and I even wrote letters to his family saying, please, it's very clear the protection of me or Archie is not a priority. I accept that. That is fine. Please keep my husband safe. I see the death threats. I see the racist propaganda. Please keep him safe. Please don't pull his security and announce to the world when he and we are most vulnerable. And they said it's just not possible.
Mm-hmm. I think what we really have got to clear up here is because one of the stories that continues to live, either through rumors or social media out in the world, is that you, Meghan, are the one who manipulated, calculated, and are responsible for this Megxit.
Oh my gosh. It's amazing how they can use Meg for everything.
Yes. There are even stories that you knew all along that this was going to happen. You went through the whole process and it was all intentional to build your brand.
Can you imagine how little sense that makes? I left my career, my life, I left everything because I love him, right? And our plan was to do this forever.
For us.
Our plan for me, I wrote letters to his family when I got there saying, I am dedicated to this. I'm here for you. Use me as you'd like. There was no guidance as well, right? Mm-hmm. There were certain things that you couldn't do, but unlike what you see in the movies, there's no class on how to speak, how to cross your legs, how to be royal. There's none of that training. That might exist for other members of the family. That was not something that was offered to me.
So nobody tells you anything?
No.
Nobody prepares you?
No, but even down to like the national anthem. No one thought to say, oh, you're American. You're not going to know that. That's me late at night Googling, what's the national, I've got to learn this. I don't want to embarrass them. I need to learn these 30 hymns for church. All of this is televised. We were doing the training behind the scenes because I just wanted to make them proud.
Okay, but here's the question. Do you think you would have left or ever stepped back were it not for Meghan?
No, the answer to your question is no.
You would not have.
I wouldn't have been able to, because I myself was trapped as well. I didn't see
She
a way
felt
out.
trapped. You were trapped?
Yeah, I didn't see a way out.
But you'd had this life your whole life. This has been your life your whole life.
Yeah, but I was trapped, but I didn't know I was trapped. But the moment that I met Meg, and then our worlds sort of collided in the most amazing of ways, and then to see how the
Please
race...
explain how you, Prince Harry, raised in a palace, in a life of privilege, literally a prince, how you were trapped.
Trapped within the system, like the rest of my family are. My father and my brother, they are trapped. They don't get to leave. And I have huge compassion for that.
Well, okay, so the impression of the world, maybe it's a false impression, is that for all these years before Meghan, you were living your life as a royal, Prince Harry, the beloved Prince Harry, and that you were enjoying that life. We didn't get the impression that you were feeling trapped in that life.
Enjoying the life because there were photographs of me smiling while I was shaking hands and meeting people. Like, I'm sure you guys have covered some of that. That's a part of the job, that's a part of the role, that's what's expected. No matter who you are in the family, no matter what's going on in your personal life, no matter what's just happened, if the bikes roll up and the car rolls up, you got to get dressed, you got to get in there, you wipe the tears away, shake off whatever you're thinking about, and you got to be on your A game.
What do you think your mom would say about this stepping back, this decision to step back from the royal family? How would she feel about this moment?
I think she would feel very angry with how this has panned out and very sad. But ultimately, all she'd ever want is for us to be happy.